Hey friends, what's happening? What's shaking? What's going on? This is Andy coming to you again from here at Andy's World of Bass. Today I'm going to do a demo video with the instrument that I'm holding right now. This is my 1970s Univox P-Bass copy. It's like a 60s P-Bass copy made in the 70s in Japan by Univox. This one's very special. I bought it from a used Guitar Center thing online just because I just saw the pictures and I thought, hey, that's a good price, and those things were made pretty well. When I got it here, I realized it had a lot of potential. However, it had a big, huge baseball bat neck on it, and it had a set of weird pickups in it that were okay, but not great. So I sent it out to the Nordstrand custom shop, and Marilia Mina and Carrie Nordstrand went to work on this instrument for me and put in an amazing effort customizing it. Carrie reshaped the neck and made it into a nice, gentle C neck, and it's a P-bass, but it has more like a jazz bass spec at the nut, so it's a little bit smaller neck up here at the nut. Very comfortable, beautiful rosewood fingerboard. It doesn't have quite the vintage radius. It has a little bit less, so it's a little bit flatter, but not completely flat. And then Mo went in and redressed and recrowned, re-leveled all the frets and installed this big Blademan pickup and a 2-band active passive Nordstrand electronics. Of course, he had to make a new pickguard for it, which turned out perfect. This was about 2.5 years ago, and I have not done anything to it. You know, all my instruments that come back from the Nordstrand custom shop that Mo has worked on, I hardly ever have to do anything to them once he's worked on them. He's one of the best in the entire business and my favorite. I mean, I've not even turned a screw. I've not turned the truss rod. I've not raised or lowered the action. That's exactly how it came back from there today. It's exactly the same. Now, I did put on a new set of strings today, and that's why I wanted to feature it, because I had the same set of strings on it for a year. I had some foam under the bridge, and I liked the way that they were getting more and more broken in, and the high end was getting worn off of them, and I liked the tone. But today I decided to just, you know, take it out and give it some TLC and clean it all up and put a new set of strings on it. So I put on my new Golly RBS nickel round wound 45 to 105. Now that's all been in passive mode so far. It's got a push-pull active passive switch. I'll kick it down into active. You know, here comes that nice headroom. That's one of the great things about active passive electronics, especially when you use the Nordstrand preamp with the Nordstrand pickups. As soon as you click it in, as soon as you engage it from passive, you instantly hear a subtle headroom gain and clarity, so you're able to dig in more without it breaking up. And now I can start bringing in some of the treble and bass. It's a 2-band boost cut. I have to be careful that I don't overload the microphone. is and how much brightness it adds, musical brightness. It's not just like over the top, you know, glass that takes your face off. It's like nice musical. And that's with them just cracked, the bass and the treble cracked slightly past the center indent, which is typically where I run it. And then what I'll do is I'll cut back the passive tone, which still operates when it's in active mode. And that just takes a little bit of that ultra high sizzle off of it and brings it to that maintaining that warm P-bass sound. Now, this is a humbucker, so as opposed to a standard P-bass pickup, which is a split coil single, this is an actual humbucking pickup with 2 coils in it. So essentially the best way I could describe it is taking it, it makes it twice as fat. And a P-bass is already a fat sounding instrument. It's a genius design by Leo Fender. We all agree on that. But man, putting a humbucker right here in the sweet spot, right where the P-bass, the split coil normally goes, is a very, very cool. I mean, it's a fantastic mod to do to a P-bass. It's just like for rock, or you know, for rocking out, man, this is the stuff. Just gotta be careful whenever we use these active preamps on a bass. You know, if you go overboard, if you boost way too much, if you boost too much of the active controls, you're gonna really screw up your gain structure, and you're gonna be sending way too much EQ into the front side of the amplifier, and it's going to get worse from there. I use the preamp, but I use it sparingly. You don't need much, you know. This is my opinion. So there you have it. There's a little demo with my sweetheart of a 1970s Univox Japan-made P-bass copy that's had a very beneficial visit to the Nordstrand custom shop. I love this instrument. It's one of my favorites. It's probably the best playing P-bass that I have because what I told you about at the beginning, it's got the jazz spec neck and a slightly flatter neck, not completely flat, but not a traditional vintage radius. So the action is so low, and because the frets have been dressed so well and leveled, crowned, it has very low action and no buzz at all. And you know, everything about it is just totally happening. Balances perfectly. It's a nice weight. It's probably right at about 9, you know. So with a P-bass, if you get too light on a P-bass, you know, if you get in the 8.5 to 9, I think is the beautiful, you know, weight for a P-bass. I think when they start to get too light, they cannot sound as good. And when they get really heavy, they're just uncomfortable, you know, on a long gig or whatever. So this is a perfect weight. It feels stout. It feels well balanced. It feels like a meat There's meat to it, and there's substance to it, and I can't say anything but great things about this. So if you see one of these old Univox basses, and you can pick it up like I did for a couple $100, it's very much a good candidate for doing like a complete mod kind of customization on, because they used really good maple on the neck, they used really good rosewood. This is obviously a really pretty alder body, nice grain pattern, and a beautiful, beautiful sunburst on there. You know, this sunburst looks better than, I don't know, I think it looks better than a lot of the Fender sunbursts do. And so you get a couple $100 into it, and then maybe send it out to Mo and Carrie, and put another $300-400 into it, and you end up with one hell of a killer P bass, and you don't have that much invested in it. It's vintage, it feels vintage, it sounds vintage, and you've not invested all that much money. You have a great instrument that's had time to dry out, it's had time to get old and get mellow with age. Hopefully somebody played the hell out of it for many, many years, and the more they're played, the better they sound, the vibrations going through them, and everything like that. And an instrument that's been played a lot usually are good ones, because for two reasons. If the instrument is worn out looking and looks like it's been played a lot, it must not suck, because that person wouldn't have played the paint off of it, wouldn't have worn the frets off of it if it was a lousy one. So that's a good indicator. And then, like I said, the fact that someone has played it in vibration and music has been going through it for many, many years, and it's had the opportunity to dry and mellow with age, it's a very good thing. All right, friends, thanks for watching this video. Thanks for watching all the videos. We'll see you next time. Peace.